So what the gentleman did not understand is that we live in Extremistan, and Extremistan has these properties. Quiet. Extremistan is mostly what you have is droughts punctuated with floods. He thinks that you get rain, like in New York. You get rain like every week. There's a rainy day almost. That's not how it works. Okay. So the problem is that he didn't see this. He thought it was a great moderation, and they don't realize that we live in a world of complexity. Let me explain complexity in a couple of minutes. You're all familiar with this object here. No?
Yeah.
Okay. This object here bankrupted a country known as Iceland. And did someone take it over today or something? No, I mean, it's still known as Iceland. Why? Because in the past, when you had a run on a bank, how did you have a run on a bank? You go wait in line. Okay? You eat your breakfast, take a bus, do something, and you may change your mind. Today, how do you have a run on a bank? Twitter. Actually, he was twitting. I was walking in, you were twitting about this. So, the whole planet withdraws from thanks to this device you can use while driving. Okay? So, you realize why the world is changing. So, we have a rise. For example, if you want to really, the book business is the best platform. 200 years ago, few people read in the same language. People read in different languages. So, you could not have the Harry Potter effect. You see, the whole planet is reading a single book. So you can't have that extreme. Because a winner-take-all effect, we're not that exacerbated. Today, everything's exacerbated. Globalization is making it more from Extremistan. A lot more from Extremistan. It's simple. I mean, the whole planet, all right, depends on the same. I mean, Twitter now is used in India, all right? Okay. At what time in history was something used simultaneously in different places? So the whole planet reacts as one unit. So it means that fads can be a lot more accentuated. So we have to be robust to them, and you can't control them. Government thinks they can control confidence. You can't. You just have to be robust. So we have, I said, a rise of complexity, coupled with what? With a rise in fragility. Let me discuss fragility for a minute. My model is Mother Nature. You have an elephant here. I mean, you recognize you have a lot of them here.
Nassim, may I interrupt?
Sorry?
You can continue for 10-15 minutes more. No issue about the time. So, fragility and then the new book also.
Oh, okay. Thanks. The elephant, 10-15 minutes you said?
Yeah.
And then we have Q&A.
Yeah.
All right. So, if I shot an elephant, I'd be arrested. No? Definitely. My mother would yell at me. She would call and yell at me. I know my mother, all right? I'd lose some friends. Okay, we said Black Swan author shot an elephant. Would it change? Would it kill the ecosystem of elephants? No. An elephant is the largest land animal. Okay. But let's say someone shot this bank known as Lehman Brothers. What would it do to the what would it have done to the financial ecosystem? Aha. We know what it does to the ecosystem. So Mother Nature builds robustness to this connectivity by not having any unit too big. A very simple concept. No? Mother Nature has been doing things for a long time. That's a problem that's not well understood by economists. That human hubris comes into engineering things that are optimal. Mother Nature does not like things that are optimal. Mother Nature likes redundancy. And it likes two things. In the presence of high degree of connectivity, it likes things to be small so they don't, impact others when they break. And the second thing, very simple, Mother Nature likes redundancy. It doesn't like things to be optimized. It applies to people in a room in India. People in Lebanon, they're born with two lungs, a pair of eyes, two kidneys. I think it's the same in India, no? All right, okay. So it's the same in the States, I was told, and stuff like that. So if an economist were to design a human being, he would say 95% of lung capacity is unused on any given day, except when you have to run after a jet, airline, because they're going to take off without you. You don't use more than 5% of lung capacity. Your kidneys, you don't need 2 kidneys. But guess what? Mother Nature doesn't think along the same lines. But actually, an economist, if he were to optimize a human being, he would not even give him 2 kidneys. So we put one here in the center of the room, and we each borrow it when we need it. On a timeshare, much more efficient. All right? And you'd have your eyes, you'd rent them out at night, because it's not optimal to keep them, because you don't need them to dream. Okay? So here we have 2 paradigms. One of optimization, which seems to produce good numbers, okay? But at the same time, it makes you a lot more fragile. So with probability 1, you're going to go bust. Which is why companies go bust. They're driven by the stock market to the maximum fragility. Simple, okay? Like there's a company, I don't know, it's still around today, called Toyota.
Yeah, still around.
They optimize to the point of destruction, right? That's it. They try to shave every single penny to be more efficient and get good numbers. And so what happened to them? Okay, so now redundancy has an opposite. What's the opposite of redundancy? Debt. Instead of having 2 kidneys, I borrow a kidney. All right. Instead of having $100 capital, instead of putting 20 to use and having 80 hidden somewhere, I borrow 400, 500, or like Goldman Sachs, 33 times my capital. All right, and call myself conservative. All right, and optimal. Okay. So debt is the opposite of redundancy. So here we have something happening in the world. If you want to see what's going on, is the best thing is that single graph. We were at the top in variations, and now we've moved to the bottom where you can have extreme spikes. Complexity causes extreme spikes. Sudden extreme spikes. Numbers look better, but you're exposed to sudden extreme spikes. And at the same time, there was this elephant in the middle of the room nobody was noticing. Increasing fragility is that debt was rising dramatically. Since 1980, you see these numbers? That was from the 1920s. So debt rose, and then of course the Great Depression brought it down. And since 1980, debt has quadrupled. Debt in relation to GDP. 4 times. So
Can someone switch off that phone, please?
Yeah. So is there a problem with the debt thing, or no? It's not. Okay. So we have a massive amount of debt in the Western world, about close to $100 trillion. Too much in relation to what we had in 1980. And at the same time, you know what happened in 1980? There's a gentleman, Ronald Reagan, who's an actor of change. You know what he did? The internet. So we have a rise in complexity coupled with a rise of fragility. Surely this is going to happen. The most fragile thing was the banking system. So I kept saying to anybody who would listen to me, the banking system was going to go under. Nobody cared. They said, well, great moderation gave me all these stories. And then in the end, they made a huge bet that the banking system was going to go bust. And it paid off. Now we're making another bet because what happened after the crisis, it looks like they didn't get that point. Obama's still surrounded with people. Oh, he has a PhD from MIT. Okay, PhD from MIT, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know where an extremist stand. All right? He didn't predict the crisis. So all these people don't have the legitimacy they think they have. And giving advice on how to run what's going on. They don't realize, they didn't see the center of the problem. They're not going to see the center of the solution. The solution is break the back of the debt. That's it. We'll become more robust. That's the addition to the Black Swan, 100 pages, where I talk about robustification, a lot about biology, some about and finance, and of course, our own health and stuff like that, how you become robust, how systems are robust. That's sort of my idea on fragility and robustness. And the problem is, of course, we're not doing very well because even, before the crisis, we had less debt than today. And today we're moving private debt to government debt. To show you how debt makes you fragile compared to equity, is when you have debt maps 1-to-1 with overconfidence, with hubris. If you read the future very well, why issue equity? You borrow. You see, you're going to get a lot better return because you're not taking into account bad things that can happen to you. If you're more conservative, then you would issue equity. And the problem we know that debt destabilizes society, we've known that since the Babylonians, which is why Romans hated debt. Of course, the Arabs hated debt. Islam banned debt. Judaism banned debt. It banned debt, okay? And had debt jubilees, also, like the Babylonians. And early Christianity hated debt. It's not till the Protestant Reformation that we started, debt started getting a good name, even then, okay? It was for letters of credit. So debt fragilizes society. It matched one-to-one with hubris. And sure enough, we're still where we were before the crisis. Nobody's realizing what's going on. That's what I have to say so far. I'll continue, of course, using your questions as stepping stone, plus or minus, a couple of, points. I'll use them in my conversation. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening to me.